So the value that are accessible, we can change those value and write the whole things here as well, because this is just to change the values. Like debug shell we can use to change the variables values and evaluate some expressions. So in current practice we generally use that, right?
Okay. Can I change something like right is greater than left instead of left is lesser than right?
Yeah, we can
Can-
comparison it. Like if you write if
Uh-huh.
we can
Oh,
comparison
okay.
it. Left is greater than right, left is greater than right, it will tell me whether it's true or false. It's true, right?
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Right. In a
Yeah.
similar way.
So these things come handy whenever you are running a very big application. So what happens is building that application takes a lot of time. But you can simply change, say, suppose you wanted to check this condition left is less than right, and due to that condition, your program is not working fine. Now you want to change it. So if you do it in a real life application, you will have to change this line and again you build your application. So sometimes bigger application takes hours to build, and that will
Exactly.
be a waste of time. So using this debug cell, you can change values at runtime and check. So it's really a lifesaver when you work in a company.
Thanks.
Yeah, continue.
So any questions till now, like the program related, or the any question? Yeah. So if there is no question, we will move to the next program. So we have covered reverse a number, we have covered reverse a string, we have covered palindrome with two approaches as well, with the reverse a string and with two pointers left and right. So let's move to the factorial one, or basically average of numbers. Let's start with average of numbers. So I think everyone went to college and execute some program on C, printf, scanf. We will take some input from the command line. So our motive is to also explain the when we will take the input from the command line. So here the class used here is scanner class. I am saying that I am initializing a scanner class, and I am saying that I have to take input. So these are some basic things that you have to learn about that. And so the program that we are going to write is average of numbers. Let's suppose I have given n numbers. So like let's suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to give the average of all those numbers. So currently we are handling variables. Now we are handling arrays as well. So arrays is nothing but a sequence of numbers. So let me explain what is array first. What happened? Just hold for a second. I think system got hang. Yeah. So currently we have declared as let's int a equal to 5. So I am assigning a 5 to an a input, right? So array is nothing but a sequence of numbers. Let's suppose I have declaring an int array. So having size 5. So I'll declare in this manner int a. This is an array. These things represent an array. New int. I'm declaring as, let's suppose 5, size is 5, right? So what I'm saying here is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So at 0 index, this is called 0 index, this is called 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, 4 index, and 5 index. Currently the number of element here is 6. So let me call it as 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So array is a sequence of number. I think you have everyone read about in college what is array, right? So average of number is basically, if I am putting numbers here, let's suppose the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what average means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 divided by their length, total number of total number of elements. Elements are 6. So divided by 6. What will be the result? This is an average of number, right? So I'm doing this program and taking input from the user. So what I'm doing here is I have creating a scanner class and asking the size of the array. Please enter the size of the array. User enter some size and I am assigning the size into a size variable. When user enters some size, then I have declared an array having size the user entered, right? Line number 10, I'm declaring an array with size, this given size. Then I'm executing the for loop and asking the number from user and assigning the value to the array. So let's explain with debugger as well, so it is easy to understand, so that it is visible to everyone. So what I'm doing, my control is at line number 7. So I'm saying that please enter the size of the array. So the control comes here. So let's suppose I am saying the size of the array is 5. I have enter 5 and enter it. So the size come here is 5, right? Because the value comes from here. Now I have declared on a line number 10 the size of the array. Size of the array is initially when I'm declaring the array, the default value is 0, basically every element. So by default, when I'm declaring a size as 5, so 5 elements allocated to it with default value that is 0, right? 0, 0, 0, every value is 0. Then I'm asking the numbers from the user. So it's saying that please enter the number 1 because ith at index 0, so that's why I'm doing here is +1. So that the 1 will be printed here. Otherwise, if I'm directly using I, so it will give me a 0. So this is just for the user experience, right? Please enter number 1. So I'm just writing number 2. So I have declared as just execute it here and come to this line number 5. I think it's got hanged again. Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's check the array here. I have entered every element in the array. So my array got filled from 0 to is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here what I'm doing here is I'm calling the method average of numbers, and what I'm giving here is an input array. So and the same way I'm executing a for loop here is for int I0, I less than equal to input dot length, that is my 5. It means 0 to 4th index I plus plus, and I have declared as float variable. Float is integer is for non-decimal number. It means for natural number. It means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will not consist of decimal number. But my average will also come in a form of decimal. So I'm using here is float. So I have declared a float variable as sum 0. So let's go into the loop as well. Float sum 0. So initially my sum is at 0, 0.0, right? So I am adding the first number into my sum. So my first number will be 1.0, right? I have added 1 here is. Then I'm adding 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So total sum will become 15. Then I'm dividing with the input length. So it will become give 3. Average is 3. So let's try with some decimal input as well. Yeah. Let's suppose the length of array is 3. 2, 4, 4. So it's 3.333, right? So I think everyone should clear about this program. If anyone has doubt, we can explain here. Can we move forward? The next program?
Yeah.
So the next program is the factorial of a number. Factorial. So I think everyone should heard about the recursive methods, right? So recursive is just nothing but a method call itself. That is called a recursive method. Let's suppose I'll explain on a canvas as well. So let's understand what is factorial first. So I'll explain what is factorial.
Arpan, first explain Fibonacci program, then go to that thing.
I think this is more easier than, okay, I'll explain the Fibonacci first. Fine. I think you have heard about the Fibonacci series as well. So what is Fibonacci series is, my first element is 0 and next element is 1. The first two elements are defined. The third element is the sum of the previous two elements. 0 plus 1, it's 1. Then the next element will be the sum of previous two elements. 1 plus 1, it's 2. Then 2 plus 1 is 3. Then 3 plus 2 is 5. Then 5 plus 3 is 8. And similarly so on. So the ask is here is, so there is Fibonacci series, and you have to find out the 10th for, let's suppose that what is my 10th element here is. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, like the 10th element 55 here is. If I'll start with 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? So the ask here is, if I'm giving the input, so I have to give the value of that particular term in a Fibonacci series, right? So if you can see, so I'll explain in a recursive manner what is recursive program. A recursive program is nothing but a program that is called itself. Let's suppose I have a function f that take inputs, right? But inside this function, I'll call it f call itself, and I'll provide some input here. So this method is call itself, then come here, then this method call itself, come here, this method call it. So it's a recursive program. It's a method call itself. So Fibonacci number, as I already explained, so let me tell you how we can do Fibonacci in a recursive manner as well. So it's like, so let's start with 0. So my first number is 0, then 1, then 0 plus 1 is 1, then 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 5 plus 8 is 13, right? So I think it's fine. So what I'm saying here is, my Fibonacci method will be like that. Like if you have to find some n term, let's suppose you have to find some n term, and let's call it this sum. So how in a mathematical manner we can write this? It's a sum of f of n minus 1 plus f of n minus 2, right? So fn term represent this. Let's suppose f of n minus 1 is this, or f of n minus 2 sum is this. It means we can, if we do the sum of these two terms, then we will get the answer, right? This one. So we can write this in a form of like this, right? If you have any doubt, you can ask. So I'll move to the program in a recursive manner here. Right. So let's move to the program. Simply what I'm doing here is I'll write this equation here. It's a one-liner program basically. I just write in my program this equation. If I have to find out the sum number 5th, so, and some number, let's suppose 8, some and 8th term we need to find in a Fibonacci series. I am saying that it's sum of 7th term plus 6th term, right? 6 plus 7, the sum will come as a 8th term. So the same line I have write in a program. So this is my recursive program. So just focus here is, ignore the bottom one. I think this is the part of your assignment, how we can do it with the help of an array. So I'll explain the recursive here is. So if I'm saying that I have just ignore this condition currently, what I'm saying here is I have to write the Fibonacci series, the term that I have explained. I have given some input. The input will be the sum of input minus 1 plus input minus 2, right? But this program will execute always I'll remove this condition. Let's suppose I'll execute it and it shows basically, let's suppose it's 5. The problem with this program here is, so let's execute this program and see what happens. It's showing an error. What is the error? Let's move above. Stack overflow error. Stack overflow error is, I am saying that let's suppose I have given 5, so execute this and a debugger point. It's quite clear to you as well. So I am saying that input is 5, so call it as 4 and 3. So call it at, the call goes from 4 here and 3 here, right? Then it's 3, then 2, then 1, then it's going to the negative numbers, right? But the number can't be negative because here is, in this program there is no terminating condition. So in recursive program we call this as a base condition. So we have to add some terminating condition here as well. So what is my terminating condition here is, so if I know that if my input is 0 or less than 1, like this is my first term, if my input is less than 1, so I have to just return as 1, the given input, sorry. So if it is 0, then I have to return 0. If it is 1, then I have to return 1. So if my input is less than 1, less than equal to 1, then I have to return the given input. That is my terminating condition. So I have to just add my terminating condition here. I am saying that if input is less than equal to 1, then I have to return my input. So now execute this program and check. Ten term in Fibonacci series is 55, right? But there is also a problem in this program. So we are not explaining here. And the problem is not with the result, but the problem is with the efficiency. This program is not efficient. So we are not covering the efficiency part here, but yeah, to understand recursive program, this is the initial one program, which you know about that, like how we can write a recursive programming, because recursive programming is very much important. If we read tree and graph, so these program are the base of the recursive program. So if you can learn these program very well, and you know how things are going into these program, so you can easily learn linked list, trees and graphs as well, right? So what I'm doing here is, as I've already explained, I am saying that, like, let's suppose my input is 5. So I am saying that I have a faith on these two statements. I have said that, like, if my input is 5, I am saying that get the result of 4th input and get the result of 3rd term and just add it, and it will give the result of 5th input, right? So similarly, when the control will go above, I'll explain how. So initially my input is, let's decrease some input, otherwise it will go. Let's do 4. I am saying that my input is 4, input is not less than equal to 1. My control will go here in this call. My control will go above for the 3rd term. So it check for the 3rd value. Then my control go here from the 2nd value. Then for 2nd, it go to the, see here, the stack is got increasing again and again, right? Then for 1st value, then return the input here. So 1 come here, then I have to calculate the value for this one as well. See, the stacks are unwinding now. Finally, my result will come here. 3. I think it is clear to everyone. If anyone has doubt, we can ask. Is it clear to everyone? What we are doing here is in a recursive manner. Or I'll explain explain with the tree structures as well. I think, Ankit, can we move forward, or I'll explain with the tree structure as well, the recursive program? Hello? I think there is, I thought like the meeting got ended. So the program got clear to, so program got clear to everyone, right? Fibonacci series. If it is, Ankit, can you please make me a host again so that I'll share my screen?
Yeah.
So I'll also cover the efficiency part so that it will clear to you as well. So what I'm saying here is how the tree structure will create. So let's suppose my input is 5. So what I'm saying here is, if I have to calculate F5, so what I have to do, I have to make 2 calls. For one call is F4 and one call is for F3, right? Whatever the result will come, the result will go above in this manner, right? So F3, what F4 will do? F4 will call F3 and F2. And F3 will, what F3 will do? F3 will call F2, then F1. And F2 will F1 and F0. I think this is the terminating condition. So yeah, fine. Then F1 is F0. So here is negative is not allowed. So the result will come here F0 as well. So similarly, F2 is F1, then F0. Similarly, F0 greater than equal to 1. So these conditions will not come actually. So the problem here is this. We can check that we are calculating answer for a single node multiple time. Here is F3 is calculating, but you can check the F2 here is. F2 is calculating, so F3 is calculating here as well, right? So there is an efficiency problem with this, the approach that we have told you. But yeah, this can be improved, but for still now, I think it's our main motive is to tell you how the recursive program will work. So this tree will created in terms of recursive program. So I think it's clear to everyone. So if I'll cover this as well, it's F2 and F1. Here is F2 is F1 and 0 will not part of this. F1 is ending here is because my base condition written here is. Let's move to the base condition. Yeah, this one. Right. So I think it will more clear when we move to the factorial program. So Ankit, can we move to the factorial program? If anyone has question, you can ask related to anything like Java or debugging the program, anything.
So are you saying the recursive programming has more operational cost?
Operation, it's not about the more operational cost, because here like we can reduce this operational cost by using some extra memories here, because the problem here, this approach that I've already told you, we are calculating F3, but the next term here is a dynamic programming. So I'm not moving to this topic. So what I'm saying here is, if we save the result of F3, and when I call F3 again, we will save, use that value and use that value, then I'll not make this call again, right? So I'll avoid this call. So in terms of this program, yeah, this program has a more operational cost.
Okay.
You got my point? Like I'm saying that I'm calculating
Yes,
one
yes.
value again and again. So if I'll save this result in some variable, and in next time when I check that, okay, F3 value is already saved. So why I'll make this call again? So I'll use that value, no? Because I know that for F3, the value is result will be same, right?
Got it.
Got it? So fine, let's move to the factorial program. So similarly, the factorial program, we can do factorial. So let's explain what is factorial first. So we'll recap everything here. Because if we want to learn programming or something, the maths is very much important. So we know the basic concepts of math, permutation, combination, factorial, where all these things are very much required in programming. These are the base of the programming, we can say. So factorial, I think everyone should know about that. Everyone should read about that. If I'm talking about the factorial of 5, what is the factorial of 5? It's 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? It's 120, I guess. So similarly, the 4 factorial is, it's 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Then one more thing, as 0 factorial is always 1, right? You know about this thing. So we have to write this program. So it's also an easy program. So basically, how we can do this? We can also do this in a terms of for loop. In a for loop, we know that as we have already learned that I'll my input will be, let's suppose my input is 5. So I'll execute my loop from I is equal to 1 to my input, that is 5. So I'll take a number that is m multiply. So I multiply I to 5 times, right, and save the result. So in a average, we are adding the numbers. In a multiplication, we just multiply it in this way, right? If I'm talking about the for loop. So what I'm doing here is, I have assigned input is 0. So I'll explain the 0 factorial is 1. So return as 1. Otherwise, if input is not equal to 0, then less than, we can apply here is less than check as well. No, then that is fine. Ignore it. So if answer is 1, so I assign a variable answer is equal to 1, and I am looping it from less than 1 to input, right? Live input is 5. I am just multiplying the numbers and returning the answer. So this is the this one is basic and the for loop that we have already studied. I'll explain the uh, recursive program as well. So it's 120. So I'll explain the recursive, how the recursive is going here. So I'll explain the recursive one. So the main motive of this is to explain the recursive program. So let's suppose I have to find out the, so similar to the Fibonacci series, we have explained in terms of mathematical expression. So here we also write this in a mathematical expression as well. So let's suppose if we want to find out the factorial of factorial of 1 to 5th term. So what we can see that we can easily say that 5 multiplied by factorial of 4, right? Similarly, if we want to factorial of 4, what we can say that 4 multiplied by factorial of 3, right? So this is the same term I'm using into my program. So as I already told you, recursive functions have a call to itself, and there is one terminating condition. So what will be my terminating condition is, if my input equal to 0, then I have to return it's 1, right? So this is my terminating condition. That this is similar to the Fibonacci series. So what I am here is, I am writing at, if input is 0, return 1. This is my terminating condition. Otherwise, input multiply by factorial of input minus 1, right? So let's suppose call this factorial one. It's 120. I'll start to debug with as well, so it's more clear to you as well if I'll do the debugging. So my call comes here. So my input is 5. So my input is not equal to 0, then my call comes to line number 23. So what the line number 23 is saying, 5 multiply by factorial of r, a method call itself. So input become n minus input minus 1, it will become 4, right? So let's see the input 4, then input become 3, then 2, then 1. See the stack, call stack. This is for initial main method, then it's 5, then 4, then 3, then 2. Now it's, I think, 1, right? 1. Then 1 again, call 2, it's 0. Then 0 is 1. So I'm returning here is. Now the call stack will unwind. It will become lesser and lesser. Higher, count the call stack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it will become 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Here I come to the input. So I return the input to the this call stack. So this, and finally I come to the this call main methods. So what is my output? 120, right? Everyone should clear about that, what we are doing here. Any questions?
We can move to the next program. We have 7 minutes left in this meeting.
Okay, 7 minutes. So last program is the max and min program. So I think we have covered every program. So last is a max and min. So the same approach that we have used here is to take the input of the size array, that in average of numbers. I have just copy paste this program as well. But yeah, the logic here is I have given an array. Let's suppose I'll explain. So let's suppose I have an array of numbers. I'll call it as this is my array. So it's 1, 5, 0, 2, 3, 8. So what I have to do in max and min program, I have to write out if I'll give the input to some method, I have to print the maximum number in this array, that is 8, and the minimum number in this array. So max is 8 here and min is 0 here, right? So I have to write this program. So it's very simple. Here we are using for loop and if construct that the Ankit has told you in a very good manner. So we will use this approach as well. So here we are also using some Java's construct as well. So there is in Java there is class name that is math class. So what math class do? We can also use if block as well, but yeah, I'll tell you. So I want to make you familiar with Java as well. So there is a math class in Java. In a math class, there is two methods. One is max method and one is min method. What max and min method do? If we pass input A and B to this, it will return the maximum of it. Like if A is greater than B, it will return A. If B is greater than A, it will return B. Similarly, min, it will do the reverse. So we are using this construct. So let's see the code. So here what we are asking from we are using the same scanner class and ask the length of the array. And when the user enters the length of the array, we have initialized the array with the particular size and asking the elements of the array and assigning the variable to the input array. And finally, I'll call this method. So I'll explain this method. So I have created, because we have to print max and min both in a single program. So what I am doing here is I have declared two variables, max or min. Similarly, I have explained there is math class, there is an integer class as well. Integer dot min value and max value. So let's explain what is this. I'll apply a debug and you will get that. So integer has basically some range. So let's suppose 5. I was saying enter the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my control comes here. So see the max value of integer. I have assigned a min to it. Max I have assigned min to it, and max is this. So this is the range of integer. So any value, the value we can't assign more than this value to an integer value. If we want to assign a value having more value than this, then we have to take a long. In long, yeah. In Java, there is for a bigger thing, and there is long, and for if we are integer range are in between, then we can use as int variable. Like if we have to store a number that are between the range min and max, so min is this minus 2, this range, then we can integer. But if our ranges crosses these two things, then we have to take a long, right? So what we are doing here is I have assigned max to a minimum value and min to a max value, and I am looping it, and I am saying that if my first number is greater than the minimum value that I have assigned the minimum value here, right? Then just assign max to it. So let's suppose like my max one is initially negative value, right? And my input of I is it's 1. So max will become 1, right? And min will become 1 as well. We can see the max is 1, min is 1. Now it will get more clear when we move to the index number 2. So my max here is 1 and my input value is 2. So as I already told, max will give the max value. Input I is 2. So max will become 2. And min will remain 1. Right. Similarly, if I'll execute this program, so it will print max is 5, min is 1. Right. I think it's a very simple program. So if anyone has a doubt, you can ask. So I think we have covered. So I'm hoping no one has doubt. So I think we have covered all the programs that are the part of agenda. So we'll discuss the assignment. Ankit?
Yeah, Arpan.
So as I've already shared the program with you, max and min in a GitHub as well. And the link, everyone got the link now? GitHub link. So what you have to write, we have to write the, like currently here I am finding the maximum and minimum element in this array. Then we have to find out the second max and second min, or you can write just so let's suppose the program is, Ankit, can you please explain the assignment?
Yeah. So as part of your assignment, you will have to write a program to find out second minimum and second highest member of an array. So Arpan, can you write it down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, if this is my array, now we can see the second highest here is 9. Highest is 10 and second highest is 9. Similarly, lowest is 1, but second lowest is 2. So you will